taken one step forward in our mission to basically spread the knowledge and practices of psychology into business and making our organizations more humane and ethically responsible. We have started this series of webinars with the aim to take business psychology forward through conversations. And our speaker for today is Ms. Anviksha Tripathi Jain. We welcome you to the first chapter of this series, which is Work Home Spillover. So I'll just introduce Ms. Anviksha a little formally. So Ms. Anviksha holds an MBA in Organizational Behavior and HR and also a Master's in Clinical Psychology and Diploma in Art Therapy. She is the chief consultant and founder at the Coffee Conversation and which is one of its kind therapeutic interaction center. She actively engages with corporates wherein she undertakes counseling and training sessions to increase their productivity and happiness quotient in the personal and professional lives. She also runs an NGO for women and children by the name of Sakhiri. Apart from this, she is also a leadership coach, especially for women leaders, and she is currently working as senior mediator at TAG. Recently, her work was appreciated and she was bestowed with the Women Leadership Award as a leading mental and social health consultant in Delhi NCR for 2020 and also the Best Mental Health Consultant in 2021. It is truly an honor to have you as a speaker for today, ma'am. And without taking any more time, I would like to hand the session over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vaibhavi. How are you?
I'm
I'm so
good,
glad
ma'am.
to be on the platform again, and so glad that I could be of any interactive, help to all of you. So you have a very interesting topic today, which is work-life balance. I think over the past 2 years, we've all been kind of struggling, I would say, and kind of to get to know how as to how actually manage it well. When the pandemic had started, the situation was that, we were not in this scenario where we thought that, we would be in a work-life balance, or we'd be, constrained to small spaces or home, for a very long time. When the pandemic had started, it was almost, we were almost hopeful that, this would end, let's say, in 21 days, 51 days, 2 months, 3 months, and then that was it. And then, we were all expecting to go back to our normal routines. We were all expected to go back to our offices, to our chairs, to, our cubicles and everything. So I think the first phase or the first lockdown, etc., we kind of, that is the reason we all kind of enjoyed it so much, because we thought it was a very welcome break from the fast paced lives that we had all been living till then. And we thought, okay, fine, this is just a phase, maybe another 2 months, and then we'll be back to where we were, and then life goes back. None of us, I think, had anticipated that one, it will continue for so long. Two, even when we go back, the offices or our working spaces will no longer be as we had known them over and over and over the years. We hadn't anticipated that, we may be working in shifts, rotational shifts. We hadn't anticipated that there will be a situation where only half an office would be, 50% capacity would be allowed. We hadn't anticipated that we would still be, allowed to work from home. As much as we all loved working from home at that point in time, and when the pre-corona, we had all wanted to be in an organization which allowed work from home, options. We all wanted, an organization where we could, just sit at home and be at the, take a day off, or, kind of work from home. So we thought it was a big plus. Now that it's actually been given to us, we understand that it's not really what we had thought it would be. It's not as glamorous and not as relaxing as we had thought it would be. Now we're all kind of itching to go back to our spaces. And even when we go back, it's just not the same. So I think it's, as a professional, of course, it's a huge change for everybody. But I think as business professionals, as corporate professionals, this is also, excuse me, has kind of, brought about slight bit of, I would say, emotional upheaval for all of us, right? And that is why a work-life balance has become all the more imperative now, you know, uh, after so much, So a lot of people keep asking me that, now that we are home, how is it that we want to be out? it's like choosing between the devil and the deep sea, because out you go and you're in the midst of maybe an infection. You don't know how to kind of keep yourself safe, and at home you're not able to kind of keep yourself away from all the distractions. So it's like slightly tough as a situation. So I'm so glad that we kind of picked up this topic, which is a work-life balance. When I remember uh, when this whole pandemic had started, the issues at that point in time, which were coming from corporates and business leaders and business professionals, were very different for a work-life balance. Yes, the topic seemed very similar, but at that point in time, the topic seemed to be like, I now that I'm sitting at home, how do I increase my efficiency and everything? I think we've kind of gotten to that as to how to go over the technical glitches. We've all learned that. We've all learned how to, we didn't know how to function. A lot of them said that, we have professional glitches and, there is no interaction and everything. So I think we've all gotten used to that. But now I think there is a different sort of set of questions uh, that have come into our minds now. So, Webby, if you have any, shoot them out and we take them one by one.
Okay, so most of the times it's like many of the individuals have put forward this, like after they are done with their work, with their meetings, an entire day of continuously staring at the screen, they are like, "Okay, I do not want to do anything else now. They do not want to pursue their hobbies more, or they do not feel like even focusing on their fitness. So how do we cope with this?"
That's a very interesting question, Vaibhavi, because if you rationalize it, people would think that you're much more rested, because you're cutting on the commutation time. You're not walking around as you were in the official spaces as much. You're not taking lunch breaks, so to say, the 1 hour or 2 hours, and you're not stepping out. You're not driving. You're just sitting. You're just going from one room to another and just delivering your work in front of a screen. This also brings us to the fact that I think we've also got to be, mindful of the fact that how much screens and gadgets and lights, mentally pull us down. And this question is a direct result of that. That even though we feel that we are in a state of rest, we feel drained out. We feel emotionally not up to the, challenges that we may be having. We don't feel that we can devote time to ourselves. We feel that there is no emotional energy left to kind of even go and go out for a walk, although that's very, very important. So this, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're constantly staring on a screen. We are So now we need to realize how important it was for us to have those physical spaces, to kind of step out, breathe in the air, fresh air, talk to your colleagues, and it was important for us to do those physical efforts, because unless you're fit, you're doing those efforts physically as well, you would never feel the mental energy to be able to do something. So like you said, they feel no energy to do their pursue their hobbies. I would say that it's important for them to be able to understand that you have to start your day on a fit physical note. If you want to have a better mental health, we need to be very mindful of what we are doing as a physical entity as well. So let's start today on a, even if it's just 15 minutes of stretching or 15-20 minutes of yoga, or slight bit of mindfulness exercises. It's important to be able to do that. Also, let's not be glued to the screen for continuous hours. It's important to take breaks, every, 1.5 hours, 2 hours. Walk about, even if you are in a smaller space, walk about in your rooms or walk about during the length of the house. Make yourself physically active, because the moment yourself physically active is also when the, happy chemicals, hormones, etc. released in your brain. It's important to be able to do that. Otherwise, at the end of the day, even if you're just sitting on your chair and table, you'd feel mentally very drained out. Once you are finished with your task, switch off. A lot of us are, prone ki chalo kaam khatam bhi ho gaya, to bhi let's, we are browsing through something. You're scrolling through Facebook, or you're going from one browser to another. We have to be able to demarcate that. Now, if you're sitting on the screen for work, please, the moment your work is finished, the moment you know you have kind of delivered the task at hand, make sure that you switch off the screen, make sure you switch off the gadgets, and get yourself up and go out physically. Now I think people are at least in a space where they're meeting people, each other, at least in the near vicinity. So if you can, go up and step out, maybe in your balcony, chat to a neighbor, or go out for a walk with a friend in your neighborhood, definitely do that, because that will give you the energy to come back and bounce back and do things that you really like. If you like gardening or cooking or whatever, please do that. And I would suggest taking out time to begin with, at least twice a week, to pursue what you really like, because the moment you kind of clock in, or you make it like a fixated hours, we tend to follow it more strongly, than if we just say that, okay, fine, jab ye khatam ho jayega, then I'll see. No, make time for your hobbies, or make time for what you really like to do. If it's a book that you'd like to read, or if you'd like to garden, or if you'd like to, let's say, do something for a walk, start with something as small as twice a week, but make sure that you do it. So take your hobby as seriously as you would your profession. So the moment you give it that seriousness, you'd be able to find all the time and energy to get back to it. Of course, you can build up to it. Twice a week can become 5 times a week, or whatever. And half an hour a day can go up to 2 hours a day. Of course, that'll slowly build up. Let's start small. Consistency, starting small, and taking even your hobby seriously is what's going to help us now.
Yeah, truly, ma'am. So another thing out of this is, as you said, that we should make time for ourselves. So many of them will complain ki, like we have such a busy schedule, we cannot, we have meetings, we have constant working hours, we have to look after our family too. So how do you suggest that we start making out time, even if it's on the minutest step?
So I would like to answer this question with another question, Vaibhavi. Except for the fact that we are now constrained in spaces, what has changed in our schedules? We were all attending meetings earlier. We were all looking after families earlier. We were all kind of, going for our corporate meets. We were doing our tasks. We were finishing deadlines. We were doing everything that had to be done, right? Even before this happened. So technically, so to say, we're as busy pre-corona as we are now. It's just that mentally now, the only difference I would say is that now mentally we're not disengaged. So earlier you would go out to your official space and you would be disengaged from what's happening in the house, or you would come back to the house and you'd leave your work behind. That was the normal protocol. The trouble now is that the boundaries have kind of blurred. So we are in the similar physical spaces where your office and your home are mixing. But having said that, I would say that our schedules are by and large the same, except for the fact that yes, we now have to manage all of it in one go. So while you're also doing a talk, or you're also doing an assignment, you also hear somebody asking for some help outside in the house. So that mental disengagement is not there, is what's making it tough for us now. So to be able to do that, I think we will have to go back to a time and start treating our little home spaces as also our office spaces. So designate an area in your house, whether it's just a desk even, that you say that this is my office space, right? This is my office cubicle. And we will have to just tell our family members that this is a sacred space. We will have to, as mothers, we'll have to tell our children or whatever, that when I'm sitting here, when I'm sitting here doing my work, I have to kind of close my doors. I am not going to be thinking about, what's happening in the family or not happening in the family. Every other need has to be met either before I step into this area or after I step out of this area. So more than creating a schedule, I think we'll have to create a mental disengagement, and kind of train ourselves that this is office time. So like 9 to 12, when we went to offices, 9 to 12 or 1 was your office time, right? So you did not take personal calls so much. You were more focused on your professional work. Even if there was a personal call, you take a call and you'd say, let me call you back when I get free. So we have to kind of just redoing all those things. At that point in time, the only interactions that you did kind of take was not with so much with personal friends or your relatives. You spoke to your colleagues, you spoke to your friends at work, and a lot of that talk was related to work itself. So we will have to kind of go back to doing that. And as far as scheduling is concerned, I think we just have to learn better time management. Just like, we'll just have to learn that this is our office time, this is our personal time. Because at the end of the day, Vaibhavi, we cannot, no matter how much we try, we will only have those 24 hours in a day, right? We can't stretch it to a 36 or a 48 as much as we'd like it. So, whether we cry about it, whether we laugh about it, jo kuch karna hai, we have to manage in those 24 hours. So I think it will help if we step back a little and see how we used to make time when we were, even commuting to work. How was it how was it we were making time for our family? Was it over the weekends? Great. If that was working at that point in time, maybe that's what we can do now. Just because we're sitting in a different space at work for working doesn't mean that, we have to do everything differently. So let's say, okay, fine, we used to go out with the children every Saturday and Sunday. Great, let's start doing that again. So now that obligation of taking children out every evening has to stop, right? The children also need to learn that, parents are going to be going back to work, just like children are going to be going back to school, right? So make sure that your children are, practicing those. uh, if there was a shopping list that you had in time, and when you were going to work, what did you do? You waited for a day off, or you decided, okay, fine, 9 to 5, let me take a half day today. Let's say you had a bank work, you decided, okay, fine, let me take a half day today. You put in a mail exactly for that, or you told your supervisor or whoever it was, your senior at work, and say that you'd be coming in at half day today. Why can't we do that now? Just because we have the ease of gadgets and, logging in from wherever we are, we are actually stressing ourselves out more. So if you are to step out for a personal work, it's important, drop in a mail to your supervisor and say that I'd not be, available on my screen for, let's say, between 2 to 5. Try and try to treat your working space exactly as you would, or try to work exactly as you were if you were going back to work, right? See what worked for you at that point in time. How did you schedule your day at that point in time? Did it work because you kind of left early in the morning? Did you try to beat the traffic and you tried to kind of go in at, drive in at 8 in the morning? Now you don't have to drive in at 8, but that doesn't mean you can still get up at 9:30 and log in at 9:30. Please get up at 8, take that 1 hour to do something that you really want. So use that hour towards, let's say, your physical fitness, or towards your mental fitness, or towards doing something else that you want. But so that is how you'd be able to schedule yourself better, because ultimately we just have those 24 hours. So that is how it will be. Have a look at pre pandemic times, see what worked, see what did not work. uh, have clear demarcations, and then clear schedules, and then treat your workspace as sacred. If you want to go out for a personal work, please leave in a note with your colleagues, with your supervisors, with your friends at work, that I will not be available, because it just is so much more stressful that you're also sitting in a bank and trying to log in from there. It just doesn't work. And it makes no sense, because then you're also, uh, at the end of it, you're also it's taking a toll on your efficiency as an employee for the firm, right? Because then you're half here and half there. It just doesn't work that way. So these are the things that we'll have to do, and just kind of, take it forward from there.
Okay. So as you said, even for mothers, we can tell children ki, like this is my working time now. But I guess that would work with children that are a little older. But for children who are, let's say, a year or two old, and
Hmm.
mostly women and working mothers have higher responsibility of household work or even childcare than comparatively to other men in the house. So what can be done to one way is like to reduce the gap, like how can the responsibilities be better distributed so that both the partners will be considered, and even for mothers, how what can be done to just reduce the stress and burnout for it?
So, like you rightly said, Vaibhavi, it is, of course, very stressful for the mothers, especially for working mothers. And as you rightly said, if the child is very, very young, like 1 year or 2 year or 3 years, probably, it is also the correct thing for a mother to ask for help, right? There is no shame in that. If, as a mother, you feel that, you are feeling the stress of having to take care of your children, there is nothing wrong in asking for help. If you have family around, if you don't have family around, maybe you can ask for your house helps for help. If you can't do that, of course your partner is around. You can ask him or him for help. See, ultimately it does not make you a bad mother. A lot of mothers don't reach out for help for child caring is because of the fear, is because they feel that everybody will think that what is it, I can't even take care of my children, I'm a bad mother. No, your job as a mother is to nurture your children, is to give them good values, is to make them good human beings and to take care of them. It does not necessarily have to come at the cost of you having a burnout, right? So I think a very important thing is that mothers should not hesitate in asking for help. If you feel that there are certain duties that your husband can take over, please ask them. Or if you think that your parents are nearby, or your in-laws are nearby, or they're staying with you, please ask them for help. Ask them to pitch in as a family. See, there is a saying, an African saying, which says that it takes a village to raise a child. And here we're just, kind of asking just our family and near and dear ones. Create a support system for yourself. And that also means that you also have to be with those people when help is required. So it's important to create an ecosystem, create a support system wherein you are able to ask for help from people around you. Duties in the house have to be managed and distributed amongst partners, I would say, if not absolutely equally, but somewhat equally. See, if it's a 1 year old child, I understand if he or she wants to be more near to the mother. Of course, that's understandable. Apart from that, it's also not a bad idea to reach out for help even to your professional colleagues, to say that listen, I am at work right now, but I may be able to do this task better in the evenings because my child goes out for a stroll, or I may be able to deliver this task better between, let's say, between 12 to 1 because my child goes in for a nap, right? So it's important to be transparent. It's important to be clear, to be able to say that this is what you can do with the constraints that we all have right now. And if nothing else, I think this pandemic has made us all slightly more empathetic and slightly more, humanitarian towards each other. We all, if we are transparent and if we say it upright, I would, in my opinion, 80 to 85 to 90% of the people would try and understand your situation, right? If you are a working mother and if you are an asset to the company, of course, people try and adjust. I have done that for my team because, a lot of my team members, are women and first time mothers who became mothers during the pandemic. And they felt that it was very tough because they're also psychologists. So, so having the extra burden of having also people, sharing their woes with you, and pandemic stories were not happy ones. So a lot of mothers actually chose to work, around the schedule. They said, we're okay taking a call 10 in the night. And this is what they came up with. So I asked, 5 of my team members, please give me times slots that suit you, right? That you think you'd be able to cater to clients. And that's what we communicated to the clients, and they were happy to accommodate. So it's important to kind of also trust the people around you and ask for what you need and be transparent and genuine about it. Of course, you're not going, if you're not asking for a change in a schedule because you want to go out for a movie, right? It's not that happening. It's just that we're trying to, help each other out. So that's one thing that mothers can do. Ask for help, tell them clearly what you want. Just thinking that I need help, and you feel that the samne wala usko samajh mein aa jayega. No, that doesn't work. Be specific. This is what I need help in, right? Be specific. Okay, I need write in a mail to your colleagues, say that, I'd like you to kind of, have a look if there is some way we can reschedule my timings. Great. So they know that the team knows that this is what you are looking at. Ask your friend, ask your husband, like, I need help in feeding the child, or I need help, while that I have a meeting between, let's say, 6 to 7 every evening. I need you to take the child out at that point in time for a stroll. So be specific about your needs. Just don't give vague answers. Oh my God, I need help and nobody's helping me, because that's never going to happen. You have to be specific, be transparent, ask for help. There's no shame. And as a mother, again, I say, if you still feel that it's all burning you out, create a better schedule. If you feel that it's all burning you out, there is also, again, no problem in stepping out, for a little while. Go out for a walk, calm yourself, 15-20 minutes, half an hour in a day. Take that time out and connect with your own self and see how is it that you'd like to plan your day better tomorrow. With young children, it's tough, because sometimes you have unforeseen emergencies. But I would also say that it's also smoother in the sense that by and large, young children, very young children, have a set routine, right? Like they would eat at a particular time, sleep at a particular time. Try to get them into a routine as well. It's very important. You can't let your child wake up till 2 in the night, and because फिर वो तो वो 10 बजे उठेगा ही, 10-11 बजे उठेगा, तो of course your day will start late, and then that is also the time when your office will start pinging you. So you have to create, as a mother, you will also have to create a schedule for your children so that it works seamlessly for the two of you. You don't have to work according to the schedule of the child always. You have to train the child also to be able to go, connect to your timings as well. So these are a few things that mothers of very young children can also do. And of course, if the children are older, they can of course be told, they need to be trained. And there's no harm in training and being a little strong on your points. Even with older children, children need to learn, and these are all life lessons. These are not it doesn't matter that if once in a while you tell your child that no, this is not a time when you can barge into my room unless it's an emergency. You can't, and it's absolutely fine. That does not make you a bad mother. And these are life lessons that children also need to learn, that they're not entitled to everything in life. So look at it differently. These are also life lessons that you're giving your children, that not everything and everybody is available at their beck and call. So it's fine to train children. So those are a few things that young mothers can do.
Okay, so as you said right now, that creating a better schedule would really help avoid the burnout. But I think it must have happened with many of us that we like try to just structure a timetable and try to just say, okay, I'll do this in this time and this in this time, but we mostly fail to follow it. So is there something that goes wrong on or is there something that we do wrong while scheduling?
I don't think we do anything wrong while scheduling it, because we all schedule our timetables, so to say, or our days according to the activities that we have at hand. I think most of us, where we lack is we don't follow it through, right? Because we kind of take it very easy. We just believe कि कोई बात नहीं, कल से शुरू कर देंगे. Now that is something that we need to kind of not fall trap to. So like we all know, I know a lot of you here would be psychologists, or backgrounds of psychology, or otherwise also, that anything that you keep on doing consistently for 21 to 22 days becomes a habit. So we have to give that, we have to understand, and we have to tell ourselves that we cannot fall into trap. If it is the day 12, it also has to be the day 13th. We can't say कि अच्छा चलो ठीक है अब कल से कोई बात नहीं. And also I just ask a lot of young people when they tell me, ma'am, we can't seem to follow it through, is there a better way? I ask them, what are your options then? Please tell me, is there a better, if is do you think that you can stretch the times? Do you think you can lessen the work at hand? What are the other options? Okay, fine. If this scheduling does not work, let's say hypothetically, or you feel that this is not something for you, or this is not something that we can do, my point is that we also then need to look for solutions. What are the options? Can we stretch a day to include more number of hours? No. Is there a way that you can reduce the task at hand? Maybe. Shall we look at that? Maybe if you're kind of not doing, you're kind of procrastinating your work a lot, so that it all builds up in a day. You're not meeting your deadlines, you're putting everything for the last minute. Is that what you're doing? Let's look at that. If that's what you're looking at, please break up your work. See that if you can do it in smaller chunks rather than it in one big go. If is that what is Can that be a solution? Is there a way that you can probably work not just from home but also from your office space? Is that an option? So we also need to weigh in our options. Let's say a lot of these organizations have now allowed people to come in on rotational basis, 50% capacity, or thrice a week. So are there any important tasks that you feel you'd be able to deliver better if you were sitting in an official space where you were not so distracted? Maybe try to do it that day. So we will have to keep on looking at our options. If this scheduling thing is not working, what are our other options? See, ultimately, as this is the Indian Institute of Business Psychology, so the business at hand will need to be delivered, right? There is no excuse for not being able to deliver that task, no matter what. So what are our options to be able to increase our efficiency in that? So those are the things that we need to look at. Okay, fine. Scheduling does not work for me in my kind of a household. Is there something else that I can do? Probably. Is there, let's say, if I'm living in these societies, they have those clubhouses where people can sit separately and work, or a library. Is there that kind of a space that I can go and deliver my work so that I'm not so distracted with things in the house? Can I do that? Can I probably go to the office and do that work? Is there a different time schedule that I can work on? Probably the US times or the UK times, can I match that? Or is there a different project that I can kind of deliver better in the current scenario? So those are also all the options that, we should be looking at and seeing that, what is the best that we can do. And if you feel that there is nothing else that can be done, get up, show up, and do it for 21 days. Hopefully, it'll become a habit.
Yes, ma'am. So another one of the problems that many of them face is, even though we are working from home, we are like living with our partners and children and everything. Sometimes some organizations will like restrict the work towards the working hours, like 9 to 5. But some might even expect you that since you are at home, they might expect you to work overtime. So because you're reducing on the commuting, you're reducing on, so basically you're at home, you have everything at your hand, so you can just work on it. And this leads to arguments between partners that even though you're at home, there is very little time for us. So how can there be some sort of better communication so that such issues can be resolved?
Uh, so, in my experience, Webavi, most organizations expect an overtime, or they expect that you would be working beyond your normal working hours if you give them that impression, right? Uh, Only when you tell your boss, or only when you tell your supervisor that you're also available post 6 o'clock, is when most of them would expect you to, right? So unless and until, I used to have this person very early in my job, some 15, almost 15 years back. I was a new recruit to British Airways, which was a very big organization. I was a very new recruit, and my team leader would tell me that I'm very happy with people who are able to tell me an hour in advance that they'd like to go home exactly at 4. So he would expect you to come in on time, deliver your task on time, because he says that technically just tells me that you've been able to do your job and you have done your job with efficiency, because I'm only assigning you that much task that can be done in a day, or that can be delivered in, let's say, 4 to 5 to 6 working hours. So if you're expecting that you will stay beyond a certain limit, that just technically means that either you're inefficient, or I have given you way too much task, or there is some sort of a lapse in times of time wastage. So I'd be able to figure that out. So if we would we were to get off at 5, and if by 4:30 we tell that Saji we've done, he was very happy. And he was very happy to kind of let us roam about in the office, and okay, fine, go for your tea break or whatever, and plan your day for tomorrow. So I learned that very early on in life, that organizations only expect you to deliver in overtime if you give them that impression. So that is one. And again, like you said, there has to be a communication. So there has to be a communication between you and your team, that what are your working hours? What are the expectations? What are your KRAs? I fail to understand why have we suddenly started to feel that we are different professionals just because we're sitting in our homes. No. So if you were sitting in the office, you wouldn't be wanting to put in an overtime every single day. You would do it once in a while, and that's fine. All of us do that. But if it had become a habit, you would at some point step up and either bring it to your supervisor's notice or to the HR's notice, or at least have a chat about it to your boss to say that, listen, this does not suit me, right? And that's exactly what we need to do now. If an organization is expecting you to come back with emails, or it's expecting you to deliver your task at odd hours, there has to be a clear communication from your side, because that's also your right as an employee, right? You have to be forthright about it. You have to tell that these are my working hours, this is my schedule. Please send my task a day in advance, so that I, or at least by, let's say, half an hour while from the time I log in, so that I can plan my day accordingly. If there is anything that you send in the last 15 minutes or 20 minutes, unless it's urgent and earth shattering, please expect it to be delivered the next day. So these are communications that we have to be clear about. And again, as partners, I think I would say these altercations come up only if this becomes a constant pattern, right? So both the partners have to be mindful of the fact that they do not take things so easily and so lightly. We should not take each other for granted just because we are in the same space. Uh, because someday this will probably end. Uh, and even if we are not going to office all the time, maybe your 3 days are different from your partner's 3 days, and you may not be able to see each other. So let's not take each other for granted. Let's, again, like I say, if there is a time commitment of having dinner together, or, stepping out for a movie together now that cinema halls are opening up, or just, going out for a drive, make sure that you also honor that commitment with your partner. Or if nothing else, just take out time without your gadgets for about half an hour, 45 minutes in the day, just because before you hit the snooze button, just in the day, to just to catch up on each other's day, how it was. Just because you're around each other physically constantly, don't assume that you know everything. Don't so Earlier, when you would come back from work, you'd still want to sit down with each other with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and say, how was your day? Bring that practice back. Just because we are living together all the time does not mean we know everything. There could be something else at work, but there could be something else at home that we're still not sharing with each other. So try and bring that connect back. Take out that half an hour, 45 minutes. Be committedly to each other. Don't indulge in your gadgets or office or this and that at that point in time, and say, how was your day? What was it different about today? You're not feeling well. What is it that we can do? Plan things together. Because what has also happened is that in the pandemic, a lot of us have been so, how do you say, concerned with our me times, that we've also forgotten the we times. We feel that just because we're in the same physical space, it's fine. No, take out time to do those activities together. Just sitting in the same room is not going to help you, right? There has to be some interaction between two people. There has to be some activity that you do together. So while you're making time, while you're taking out time for your me time, please make sure that you also take out time for the we time. That this is, even if it's just a movie on Netflix, or you're watching a series together, try and be, respectful of that, and create those little moments, even if those are half an hour, 45 minutes in a day. And I'm sure those altercations would certainly reduce. और अगर दिन में कभी टाइम नहीं मिलता है, तो सोने से पहले तो आधा घंटा मिलेगा, whatever time you go off to bed. You will always have that half an hour, 45 minutes before you go off to bed, or while you're lying in bed, try and talk to each other, have a chat, try to understand what is it that we can do together, or some other activity. Even in these times, even if a lot of you are not stepping out so prominently, you would step out, let's say for grocery, or you would step out for a walk, or you would step out for some slight thing. Try to do that together. Even if you're not stepping out for a big meal or a dinner or whatever, even those little things would make a lot of a difference. So yeah, so those are things
Um,
that you can do. Or if there are activities that you can figure out in the house itself, gardening together, or let's say taking responsibility of something else together. Or a lot of us have gotten pets during the lockdown. I think this has been the time where a lot of people have had pets. So, something to do with the pet together, walking it together. Why should only one partner go? So even if both of you can go. So, try to do those little activities together during the course of the day that you do together would help reduce the friction between partners.
okay. So thank you, ma'am. Actually, it was rather insightful, and I realize now that I would not be asked to work overtime if, I'm not making an impression that I'll just keep working overtime all the time, unless and until I ask them to stop. So, yeah, because I guess it's not just on the part of the organizations, even we somewhere feel that since we are at home, we are entitled to do this work. So,
Yeah, see, and you're absolutely right, Vaibhavi. See, uh, to put it very crudely, there is this thing we say in Hindi, and I listen to all the elders in the house to say that, a mother does not even feed a child if the child does not ask for it, right? Unless the child cries, the mother wouldn't know that it's hungry, and the child would not be fed, right? And even though the mother loves the child dearly, she only feeds the correct amount to the child. She does not go overboard with it, right? So we have to be a little more vocal. I'm not saying that you have to be outright, let's say, blatant or rude about it, but we will have to be vocal and persistent about and transparent about what we really need. We can't sit here in front of a screen and expect the world to know what we really want unless we also learn to vocalize them. So it's important to have that communication channel open with whether your family, friends, colleagues, work colleagues, whoever. So as and like I always say, don't think you're just because you're working from a different space does not make you lesser of an employee. You still have all those rights as an employee or an organization intact. It is just a change of space. You're still doing the same work. We've all learned to do our things differently, probably on a different medium. We've all gone virtual or whatever, but we're still doing the same works, right? You're still delivering the same task. You're still getting the same amount of salaries. You're doing everything. So why aren't we treating our spaces as we would our official spaces? It is just a change in space. That is what we have to keep in mind, that just because we're in at home does not mean that we're entitled to be doing everything. No, it just does not work that way, because ultimately um, it is also tough for a lot of other people in the house. Because see, if you are a family, you're sitting at home and you're working, and you suddenly want that everybody should keep quiet, or you're unless you tell them about it, it is not their fault, right? This was their house when you were even going to work. When you left the house alone, your mother still stayed in the house, and it was her happy and safe space and her peaceful space. Now for the past 2 years, you have to also think of what women and housewives are going through, because they not just working women, professionals, housewives, they are also going through a lot of tough times, because earlier the father would go to work, the son would go to work, or the daughter would go to work, or schools, or whatever, and they had those 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to themselves that they could dedicate to themselves. Now that you're sitting in front of your laptops, we're sitting in front of our screens, we expect the mothers, we expect the housewomen or the housewives of the house कि अच्छा ठीक है लाओ चाय बना के दे दो. अरे भाई क्यों? At 10 in the morning, just because you have a habit of going and having a tea at 10 in the morning, A lot of people expect that from their mothers. Now, without realizing the fact that when you were not at home, this was her free time. So just because we are at home, it is also an added burden on the extended family. So we have to also be mindful of that fact. If you were at office, you would just get up yourself, go to the coffee machine and make a cup of tea yourself. Try doing that at house also. Just get up, go to the kitchen, make yourself a cup of tea. That will give you some physical exercise, that will give you a disengagement, and you will also come back and do sit down and be nice about it and be recharged for your work. So, it has to be, seamless in the fact that, we have to be treating our personal spaces as official, as sacredly as we treat our professional spaces as well. And the moment we start doing that, I think we'd be good to go. And the moment that disengagement happens, that sense of, you know, uh, professionalism comes in. And a lot of us, I've seen that a lot of us just get up and just sit in front of our screens ki theek hai yaar, koi farak nahi padta. You don't turn up in your office like that, right? There is a reason why you turn out well dressed in front when you're going to work. Please try and do that. Try and get into your working clothes, or your stepping out clothes, even during at least those 9 to 5 hours, right? Because that's what you would do when you were going to work. So the moment we go back to doing what we were doing, we just have to think that this is a different space of working. That's about it, right? There was a reason why you dressed well, because you felt confident. There was a reason. And a lot of times people don't switch on their cameras and keep working. No, don't do that. Please switch on your cameras if you are expected to. Please do that if you're able to do that, because that also gives you an engagement and keeps an atmosphere of professionalism around you. Because the moment you feel that your colleagues are watching you, you behave in a certain manner. You're not lounging around on the bed कि अच्छा चलो ठीक है कि अच्छा मम्मी यहीं पे नमकीन दे दो. It doesn't work that way. So keep that professionalism intact for yourself as well. When you are trying to deliver efficiently to an organization, please understand that you also have to act in a professional manner. So get up, show up, and do it exactly how you would at work.
Ma'am, and thank you for such an insightful session. And now I would actually like to move on to our participants. And if they have any questions, please unmute yourself. And yeah, let's keep it as interactive as it was. If you're not comfortable with unmuting yourself, it's okay if you'll just
Yeah,
write
you can
down
just
your
put it in
question.
the chat box. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so I think this would apply to pre-pandemic times too, and now that we are in more constrained spaces, more now. But like generally, if you would see, if we had a rather frustrating day at work, if we like had a, the boss scolded us about some report, or that it was the traffic was heavy or something like that, that stress, that kind of frustration would kind of come out on our partners or on our children. And now that we are in more constrained spaces, that
Hmm.
is more likely to happen. So how do we avoid that? So how do we keep the stresses of either, even the if we have a fight with our
Yeah,
partner?
vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, again, Vaibhavi, like I said, that, we will have to be a little mindful. Again, so it all boils down to that, because, the moment you have a frustrating day at work, uh, okay, so typically, okay, let me take you back a little. When you had a frustrating day at work, that frustration would kind of creep in, or to your partner, to your children. But we kind of told ourselves you had something to look forward to. A lot of times you tell yourself, forget it here, I have a new day at work. Kal ki kal dekhenge. Or you would say that, I have something to look forward to. Or you would go to your work and, you'd explain it to your partner, or you'll explain it to your children. You talk about it, you talk it out. We kind of vented it out so that, because we wanted a different perspective, or we wanted the children to kind of, or our partners to kind of, give us a understanding of how it could have been done differently. Or we went ahead and played with our children, and we kind of looked forward to that. So, those were all our ways of, kind of forgetting that troublesome incident. Or, you had a, while you were driving back, you would call up your mother and say that, Mama, this is what happened. And maybe, your mother would give you a few soothing tips. Okay, fine, koi baat nahi, chodo, ye wo, go tomorrow, do this, do differently. So those were the things that we did. Or you would, the next day you would log in, go back to work, and you'd not bring that incident up again. And you would meet your colleague or your friend once again with a smile, or you. So those were our dealing and coping mechanisms. This is exactly what we have to do again. The moment you step out, or you shut your screen, you have to again think that you're commuting. What was it that helped you the most? Calling up your parent, or talking to your partner, or playing with your children? Something or the other would have helped you, right? To kind of bring it to, because you wouldn't it unless it was something very, very big. I would feel that if you were 100% angry at work, you would come back home, and by the time you'd be about 60 to 70% angry. And when you kind of got home and you started doing your other activities, your anger levels kind of went down. You went to a 40, to a 30, to a 40, and that's how it kind of weaned off. So that's exactly what we need to do. The moment you have a frustrating day at work, shut your screen down, give yourself 5 minutes, calm yourself down, do a little meditation exercise if you can, do a little breathing in and breathing out if you can, pace a little in your room, just breathe it, keep yourself cool before you even go out and interact. So it shouldn't be that you just. So what happened was that once you had a frustrating day at work, till the time you got home, that was your cooling off period. Give yourself that before. If you do that, if you're at home as well, give yourself those 10, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, however much you need, like a cooling off period, before you step out and interact with your family or children again. Because if you just close the screen and go out, it's not going to happen. So cool yourself out first as much as you can on your own accord, then go out, interact with them, and see how you can do it differently with them. And that is what's going to help us deal with it.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, so thank you so much. I'm sure our
Most welcome.
participants will have some new insights regarding how they can really go about their day, better manage their day, and even deal with the stresses of the day, like the burnout that is associated with work from home and other activities they might have to do.